Our cold case series concludes tonight with the story of a fruit picker murdered in a frenzy so violent it's unlike anything investigators have seen. It's been 6 years since the crime shocked the orchard community of Cawston in the Similkameen Valley. But despite a thick trail of blood and other clues left behind, the case is still unsolved, partly because witnesses lied to police. Lynn Collier has the story.
It was very brutal, extremely violent.
August 9th, 2004, just outside Karamias in Cawston, BC. Police are called to a fruit picker's shack. 32-year-old Doug Duckworth has been butchered in his bed. He'd been here for about a year from the U.S. working for Sanderson Farms.
He never swore, he never cussed. He was very good on computers. He was very, very reliable. Good worker, good work habits.
You trusted him, obviously.
Well, you have to trust him if he's going to be here. You know, it's a two-way game.
For a guy many say was easygoing and friendly, Doug met a brutal end. He was in his bed asleep right inside the door of his shack when the killer came in.
And the killer went right at it with the weapon. And Doug never had a chance, and you know, defensive wounds were found on him. And I mean,
he tried to fight back.
He tried to fight back, but the defensive wounds. I talked about how brutal it was. The defensive wounds on his arms were just, I mean, it was unreal. I had never seen anything like that. It was cut down to the bone. The magnitude of the blood inside the shed was so extreme that whoever did do this would have been covered. I mean, there's no way they wouldn't have been, because the time that it would have took to have killed somebody in that brutal manner. First of all, they would have been exhausted, whoever did this, and they would have been covered. And we actually had a blood trail leading out the front steps and down here and in this area here. And then, as you can see, the area is so vast, we ended up losing it in the fields.
Mm-hmm.
But
how did it affect you, finding Doug?
I went right to my knees. Well, if I didn't have victim services, there would have been a basket case, because I thought I was pretty tough. I've seen a lot of things in my life, and but I never saw that before, and I don't think I ever want to again. But you know, I used to, you know, as a hunter, I would butcher my deer or whatever. But no, I don't. It affected me badly.
There are only 3 shacks on the property. They are very close together, and one of the others was occupied. Police say one of their biggest problems is witnesses giving them bad information.
we had 2 people in the shed next door and said they heard nothing, which, you know, I don't believe one at all. And yeah, you think about what you would, you know, the anger, or what the person must have been going through when they were doing this. It just, I mean, it's incredible to think about. We had a lot of witnesses, I wouldn't say telling us quite the truth, but the credibility was in question. And a lot of witness interviews sent us off in different directions and sent us sideways and into parts all over the country.
No weapon was ever found, but out of all the blood came evidence. 2 sets of boot prints that months later police were able to isolate. Do you think this is solvable?
Yeah, I do. You know, I've worked several unsolves where, you know, you don't think it's there, and then all of a sudden you're just looking for that one piece of information or that one lead, and you get it, and it gets things rolling. And I think we are going to solve it, and I'm certainly shooting that way.
Jason stops to visit with Greg often, bringing him up to date on the case. Greg, who found Doug's body, hopes that visit will one day bring good news. You still think about it?
Yeah, every time you got to come down to the cabins or come down to blow out the water lines in the wintertime or something, you know, sometimes you walk into the cabin, you kind of hold your breath for a minute or a second, but you just get on with it, suck it up. That's life. Sometimes you get an easy hit and sometimes you don't.
And once again, police have 2 tip lines for anyone who has any information on this case. You can call 877-687-3377 or Okanagan Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. And after looking at some of the most baffling unsolved cases this week, on Monday's NewsHour,